You know, if you've hung out in church circles for any length of time at all, you've probably heard the phrase, the Great Commission. Those verses at the end of Matthew's Gospel, Matthew 28, verses 18 through 20, where Jesus says, "All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Spirit, teaching them to observe everything I've commanded you." But did you know that that passage actually starts in verses 16 and 17, which are rarely quoted? And in verses 16 and 17, I want to share with you three things that have been encouraging and liberating for me as I endeavor to do my part to fulfill the Great Commission. Verses 16 and 17 say, "Then the disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain where Jesus had told them to go. And when they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. Then Jesus said, 'All authority has been given to me,'" and the rest of it you know. Well, in those two verses, I want to share with you these three things. The first is this: the disciples went to the mountain that Jesus told them to go to. That's obedience. Do you know that obedience positions us to hear from God? That obedience can position us to receive vision, revelation, and purpose for our lives? We don't have to make this real spiritual. If they didn't go to the mountain, they never would have heard the commission. Obedience is a good thing because it places us within hearing of Jesus. And then the text says, when they saw him, they worshiped him. And I love this because what that means is that before mission comes worship. They bowed down and they worshiped the resurrected Jesus. Worship should inform all that we do. We don't simply do things out of obedience, and we don't simply try to fulfill a vision, but what drives us is our love of Jesus and our worship. And then finally, a very strange phrase. They worshiped him, but some doubted. Now, can you understand this? It's the resurrected Jesus. And there they are, alone on a mountain with the Lord of glory, worshiping him, but some doubted. Now you might think that what this means is simply a nod to doubting Thomas. We hear about him over in John's Gospel. But the word is plural. There was more than one doubter in the group while they were worshiping. I don't know what your experiences are, but I've been in the presence of the Lord in the middle of really mind-blowing worship, and I've still struggled with my doubts. Now, what this tells me is that my doubts don't exclude me from being included in God's plans. And that's a comfort. You know, Jesus didn't say, all right, all you doubters over to that side, and all of you true believers, I have a great commission for you. No, even to the ones who were doubting, he said, go and proclaim the gospel to all the nations. Aren't you glad that your doubts or mine don't exclude us from the commission that Jesus has given us? So, obedience, worship, and realizing that our doubts do not separate us from him. These three factors can empower us as we live a life of making disciples.